Right.
Welcome back, viewers, to another edition of the Heads Up podcast on the Form Pro website. Neil Davison, the GOAT book, all things racing and sport. For this weekend, Neil, before we do that, good morning to you. Take a bow. I think we need to bring in a segment each week, the kettlebell tip of the week. Z for Z winning last week at Taranaki, dropping that 9 kilos and led all the way and clung on gamely to take the spoils, and you would have been smiling to yourself, no doubt.
Yeah, I think I'll retire ahead of the GameStop there. But no, it was interesting. It was coming to the turn there. You could see he was being urged along. I thought, well, that lightweight, that feeling of that lightweight's got to kick in sometime, and he just kept going. So it was good to see. Just unfortunate, Brucey couldn't do the same thing. But anyway, win by a nose, lose by a nose.
You wouldn't have claimed the divvy off Brucey, would you?
Why is that?
Well, if he had a won by a nose.
Why?
Because the jockey used the whip excessively, so that helped him win. So under your moral code, you wouldn't have claimed the win divvy.
Of course. Of course. Well, it's only hypothetical, but in realistic, I don't say good stuff. But
that's right? Funny, actually. Yeah, the jockeys are well aware of the whip rules, and I know there's still been a few breaches, but they're very quick to point out when they're watching a race at a different meeting. Oh, did you see that? They'll get pinged for whip use. So I think it's sinking in. So hopefully we don't have any more scenarios where there is issues with excessive whip use. But no, actually, to the eye, I thought Brucey had won that race. But
so did I, yeah. And I even thought we half a chance in the inquiry ring too, but I thought he did take his line, but anyway, it's racing. But
great finish after 3,210 metres, and I think Brucey's backing up on Sunday at Tiara, so in an amateur riders race, so you can get your money back there, no doubt.
On the flat, is it, or over the sticks?
Yeah.
On the flat, okay, yeah, no, that'll. He won there too, didn't he? So, no, you're in second there. Anyway, no, he's good. And last week you were ultra confident with the Melbourne Storm to win, and all the favourites to get up, which they did. And Melbourne Storm,
no, one lost.
Which one was that?
No, Penrith lost.
Did they?
So,
okay.
But the two that I was Storm and Roosters, but Storm looking good for the title. I'm pretty confident they should beat Penrith next week, and then whoever they meet in the final, they'll beat as well. So
yeah.
So looking forward to the Storm going all the way.
Yeah.
Classic Legend trialled the other day, looks okay. So those that took that sort of long range multi for a bit of interest, looking okay at this stage, but still a bit of water to go under the bridge.
Yeah. And on Trivier last week, I was pretty confident she was going to be hard to beat, and she didn't. James Ryder a treat, just settled, find her feet, sixth off a decent pace, came out wide, right part of the ground, and just sustained that long sprint, which he can do. Good time and everything. So
I think she had a bit up her sleeve too, just quietly, Neil. So no, she's looking very good for that invitational race over there. Hard to believe I think she's might have won a rating 65 at Tauranga about this time last year. Jamie Richards was very patient with her, just gradually stepped her through the grades and lined her up. I think their first black type race was Karaka Million Night earlier this year, and that patience is well rewarded with not giving her a gut-busting campaign as a 4-year-old. Now she's 5. She's looking very good, isn't she?
She sure is. And I know James said afterwards that give her a bit of given the ground, which you can get a toe into it, she'll be even better. So look out for that. It's going to be a plus for her. Now, speaking of horses that have been going through the grades, the big race coming up tomorrow, the Tarzino Trophy. Going to be a great race. No crowds there, obviously, but a horse I'm pretty keen on. I know you know a lot about too, is Spring Tide, and he's come through the grades nicely. This is his biggest test tomorrow. How's he going? Inside Oil, how's he going?
Yeah, well, it's funny actually. Funny story. One of the TAB bookies texted the trainer on Tuesday morning asking if he was going to be a late nom for the race. Obviously, he doesn't watch the Heads Up podcast. He wouldn't have needed to ask that question if he had.
Right.
He was saying that the win at Wanganui rated 5 lengths faster than standard, so it was a very impressive time, using all their database of times and distances and track conditions and whatnot. So he was keen, well, interested, I guess, to have the horse in the field, which everyone already knew. So yeah, work's been very good. Had a good gallop at Awapuni on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Jockey Sarah McNabb having her first Group 1 ride is pretty bullish. Trainer's confident. So, hey, it's a big step up, and there's plenty of negatives against him, but I see the money is crazy money. Australia, he was backed into about $6.50 or $7. I see he's into $10 here. I'd still think he has to pay more on the day personally, but track conditions are the big variable. Looks like we'll be on a slow 7, slow 8 surface. You can give some more detail around that shortly, but he's in good form, and I guess there are question marks on a few of the others, whether they're fit enough or they're in the right vein of form. So he's a runner's chance, you'd have to say, Neil.
Oh, it definitely is. It's a tough field. You couldn't, even like Avantage, you couldn't back her with much confidence at $3 especially. It should have $5 or $6 maybe, but after that run at Te Rapa, it was a tough run, and often mares first up when they're older take 1 or 2 runs to come right. So, but I spoke to Brendan just before we did the heads up, and our track man there, and he says it's a sort of a slow 7, slow 8 on the firmer side of slow 8. So, and there's no rain there at the moment. So if it stays that way, it could be, and it does dry out quickly, that track. If they do get a drying wind tomorrow, it could be going 124-ish, 125-ish at worst, which would be, definitely a good slow track time. But yeah, Spring Tide, I went back, and what the bookie said about his time was spot on, but the biggest thing for me is his sectionals were outstanding. He was the 3rd fastest, excluding the 2-year-old race, which was only over a dash. 3rd fastest last 600 and 200 meters all day. So, and to run that fastest time all day, speed rating wise, says he's right at his peak, and it sounds like he's sort of definitely gone on from there. So against horses that aren't having this as their big final, but big finale, it's the perfect race for him to strike, I feel. So he's got to find 5 lengths on Avantage, but that's on a better track. On a slow track, maybe 2 or 3 lengths. So if he can find 2 or 3 lengths, he's going to be right in this, I reckon. So all I can say is good luck to Chrissy and yourself, and hope he really does the job for you.
No, exactly. I think interesting, the pace influences in the race. Obviously, Deerfield, we know, likes to go forward. Call Sign Mav could slide over pretty cheaply from that barrier. And apart from those two, Frontman potentially, but it really looks like those two will have a pretty soft time out in front. So you'd have to say Call Sign Mav, if he just sat a bit like that trial at Taupo, just sat off the leader and sprints at the top of the straight, he could be hard to catch.
Yeah. No, I think it's an interesting race, but not a race you can go crazy on. I really do feel Spring Tide is probably the best bet, top 4, and I agree. I think he'll drift out later, so it'll all come advantage if the track is reasonable, especially those Aussie punters. So, and on
I don't think Aussie punters looking and going, who's Sarah McNabb? Never heard of her.
That's
a
right.
Group 1 race. Oh, she's never ridden in a Group 1 race. We'll leave that alone. So, hey, I think the price, hey, it's flattering that punters think he's a good chance, but I think the logic suggests that $10 now is too short, and wait till nearer the jump, and he should drift from that. But it's good card, 10 races. Good to see 10 races and some nice depth in a few of the fields there, Neil. So I'm sure you'll be picking the eyes out of them for the subscribers on the website. So look forward to reading your preview later on today or tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going through some of those races yesterday and trying to find some value, but until we actually know how the track is playing, it's going to be quite difficult. But my main bet in that race would be Spring Tide, top 4, but back him later into your best sports bet of the weekend, which I'm feeling pretty confident about too, which is going to be what this week?
Well, I really like Penrith to bounce back. Parramatta, to me, although they beat
Yep.
Newcastle, and we know Newcastle aren't that good, but Parramatta really struggled to put them away, and they look tired to me. They look ripe for the picking. They're like a horse that needs a spell,
Yep.
Parramatta, and they're going to get powered up by Penrith tomorrow. So here's a little anomaly. The TAB, the points start minus 12.5, $1.90. But in the winning team and margin option, Penrith 13 and over, which is exactly the same bet, $1.91. So you might as well take the extra 1 cent. So go to sports bet of the weekend, Penrith 13 and over. I think that kicks off tomorrow night. So you'll be riding that multi home after Springtide runs top 4 now.
Yeah, too right. Yeah, no, looking forward to that. And last week's question was, funnily enough, it was the Manly Storm
Melbourne.
game, wasn't it?
Yep, we did suggest the result wouldn't be the same as what it was in 2008. That grand final, Manly beat the Storm 40 points to 0.
Amazing.
I
Yeah.
believe amazing in a final, and I guess the record the Storm have to get thrashed by 40 points. I believe 5 people were
Yep.
clever enough to know that score line.
Yep. 5 dog field. Give me a box between
I'll
1
give
and
you a
5.
box number 3, the White Rug.
ENS. Well done, Ian.
Good on Ian.
I'll put your bet up tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be that Springtide sports multi. So I'll do that for you. And a new question.
Yeah, but this one's pretty tricky. I'll be impressed if we get 5 correct answers, as long as you don't give them too many clues, Neil. So we're talking the century, so not too long ago. There's a horse that ran in a Mudgeway, or what we know now as the Tarzino, the first Group 1 1400 metre race, and then also won 2 years later the Great Northern Hurdles. Bit of a interesting combination, those 2 races. So if you know the name of that horse, text or email your answers through to Neil, and I'd say if you know it, and you have a very good chance of winning the multi, because I think you'd be nearly on your Pat Malone.
Yeah. Did the horse, was it the Mudgeway, was it?
It was the Mudgeway.
Yeah. Did the horse star very much in that race?
Oh, come on, Neil. No, the horse ran last in that race.
So it didn't star then at all?
No, it did
No,
not
that-
star.
Didn't say,
Yeah,
okay. 027 352 6402 or formpro.co.nz. Right. Brickbats and bouquets. Big day tomorrow.
Yeah,
Hastings.
okay, to the Hawke's Bay Racing
Hmm.
Incorporated. They're running with the conjunction with the TAB, a Punters Club. So you can see probably some banner advertising. You'll see Punters Club or in the Punters Lounge. There's the details, or I think there's even a banner up the top, or a drop down up the top, where you can just, when you're in the racing menu, third one along says Punters Club. So you got today's racing results, Punters Club, Pick 6 Racing Hub, etc. So yeah, it's an easy way to deposit and be involved in the Punters Club, nationwide, of course, but New Zealand betting only. So Hawke's Bay and Riccarton. So NZTR have come to the party. All the turnover generated through the Punters Club will be treated as on-course commission, which generates a on-course turnover, which generates a 9.5% commission, which the club is going to donate fully to the Hawke's Bay Cancer Society in support of Daffodil Day. Obviously, this day, often you would see buckets out, all paid admission takings are donated. With the environment this year, and unfortunately it was the same last year with no crowds as such, they haven't been able to do that. So this is a good way to support that worthy cause. None of your money gets affected, so there's not a takeout from any return. So every dollar that you invest is bet on your behalf and returned to you if successful. So, but the turnover aspect of it will help the Cancer Society. So good way to be involved if you want to have a crack at that Punters Club via the TAB website, and they will update you throughout the day of the bets. I'm sure they'll be well publicised on Trackside as well. So looking forward to being a part of that. team bringing those bets to the nation, and hopefully with some success. But it does look a tricky day, I have to say.
Yeah, oh, it does, but that's half the fun, you know. Give me just put in $10 just for an interest sake and support people and support Daffodil Day. It's can you sort of mention the format of, because I know Ted is involved,
Yep.
Luke?
So the panel of selectors: Butch Castles, Bruce Sherwin, Ted from Boys Get Paid, Luke, and myself. So yeah, we're kind of we're allocating races where there's a captain for that race, so they kind of make the final call. Others can make suggestions, but ultimately the captain kind of makes the call as to what we're going with. And then I guess ultimately Darren Balcom, the CEO, and myself, who will be on course to just process the bets, I guess, in terms of the dollars, how much we spend on each particular bet. We want obviously to produce a full day's entertainment for everyone involved. So I'm sure we'll have money left going into the Parzino in the last race to create that excitement and hopefully a profitable day. So yeah, some good knowledgeable heads been chosen to pick the horses. So it'll be interesting to see how we go.
Oh, it's a good format, and the last one was what, $280,000 pool?
Yeah, 286,000. I don't expect it to be that high this time. So, but hey, you could argue that with a smaller pool, it's maybe easier to make a bigger profit percentage-wise.
Yeah.
With just some of the limitations that obviously the TAB don't want to be risking millions of dollars on any particular bet, so it is a bit limited at times when you've got such a huge amount to bet with. It can actually in some ways cause more problems. So yeah, I'd guess, I'm only guessing, I think the starting pool might be somewhere in the vicinity of 120k would be my guess, but yeah, time will tell.
Yeah, no, I'll put someone to it, support it as well, so be good fun. I just thought I'd just mention too, Brendan, our track walker, also said the track should play pretty fairly. It is normally pretty good at picking up any inside bias there, and he said it should be, it's quite firmly in the back straight and should play evenly across the straight, front straight. If anything, as it wears out on the inside, it may suit horses like Springtide and Race 9 coming out to the centre and coming down that centre part there, so which it does normally do anyway. But you have to wait and see. But anything else you need to mention before we sign off? Looking forward to the league.
Yeah, one other piece of news that I know this horse has got a bit of airtime on Heads Up, so we should just keep the listeners abreast of the situation. The good mare, I was going to say, yeah, she was a good mare. Gerda has been retired after disappointing run last Saturday. Emma made that decision to retire her, and she'll go and be a broodmare now, and I'm sure she'll enjoy her life doing that role. So yeah, no more Gerda on the racetrack, but we look forward to seeing some of her foals in the years to come.
Yeah, no, she did you proud, and it was just terrific to see her racing and winning, and it was just well below par, wasn't it, at Te Rapa? So
yeah, I think probably just we'll always, racing's a game of ifs and buts, and I think that whole lockdown and trying to peak her and then ease off and then peak her and ease off, not knowing when she was going to be racing next, might have had a bit of an effect on her performance on Saturday. That interprovincial race at home at Taranaki, when she was absolutely flying, $60,000 race, we thought we were a good chance, but we'll never know now. So that's the way it goes.
That's right. That's racing. You know, it's never easy. Yeah.
That's COVID.
That's dead right. Yeah. Oh, well, everyone have a great weekend. Get into that Punters Club, and we'll catch up with you next week.